Yeah, I know, we had completed the Dragon Ball game series during the last few months, but there are still certain really big games when we refer to Dragon Ball adaptations in video games, Game Boy Advance, being part of many players' first approach to the world of anime. Today we will start with a special series. This is the Dragon Ball Game Boy Advance Games Review Series, and what better game to start than Legacy of Goku itself. Remember to support the video with a good like and activate the bell to always be on the lookout for new content. Now, let's see what this iconic title has to offer. The RPG game's gold era was very defined during this time, and the publishers with the rights to exhibit the Dragon Ball franchise were always looking to be those that stood out. The Game Boy Advance had positioned itself as one of the most beloved portable consoles, so Atari didn't hesitate for a second when the idea of a game based on Dragon Ball with RPG mechanics was put on the table, showing a different facet of what this universe could offer. Dragon Ball Z: Legacy of Goku was born with a different proposal, which I honestly don't know if it would be the most attractive thing for the target audience at the time. It's not like you'd see it and say, oh my god, I'm dying to punch wolves with Goku in the middle of a forest. Despite that, the game didn't hesitate to show its nature, what it was looking for. An RPG experience. From the very beginning, we are exposed to the world of Dragon Ball Z in its beginnings, with Goku and Gohan visiting the Kame House and meeting Master Roshi, Krillin, and Bulma. They give us free control of the scenario from moment one, and I like that it doesn't have so many explanation screens and tutorials in a row in this specific genre that can be considered an obstacle to the development of the plot, something that cuts with the flow of the missions. At first glance, we must collect a few magazines that were lost by Master Roshi, and so little by little we must understand how the progression mode works in the missions. Right there, Raditz arrives and kidnaps Gohan as it happens in the manga. With this, they give us to understand how the level design will be. Although things get a little incoherent just when Goku leaves with Piccolo to find his brother and save Gohan, they put us to rescue a girl lost in the forest at the same time that we run from some snakes. Of course, if they were making an RPG, it wouldn't make much sense that in the next scene you were already facing Raditz to fight him. If that had happened, I think they wouldn't have chosen the correct genre. I get it. But however, to avoid those moments of disconnection that feel so sudden with Toriyama's story, they could have bothered to make an original plot dedicated to the game. But well, the truth is that I'm grateful that Legacy of Goku keeps the canon at a decent margin. The game this game works is through levels with items collection like a good RPG, and discovery through zones. With Goku you have movement, basic strikes, ki blast, and a temporary flight ability. Some abilities require a ki gouge, which is depicted below. You can interact with objects and people throughout the stage, but as you can imagine, they don't have very deep design. I'm not going to deny that it reminded me a lot of Pokemon and its beginnings, like the fact that you have to ask a lot to know where to go, find out and get clues through those conversations. And well, unfortunately for me, maybe not for some players, Legacy of Goku starts to show its nature very early, and it's a very brutal one. I mean that Goku's health bar reduces very fast when he receives damage, and this is only talking about the small enemies that you find on the way like the wolves. Any carelessness can mean death. That's why I had to learn the hard way that every small advance I made, I had to pause the game and save the progress every time. If you don't do this, the experience can become a nightmare that, believe me, you won't want to experience. For the same reason, it's important to learn to manage the resources that you find like the senzu beans and the medical herbs. This will help you advance in less painful ways, but I don't know how the game does it so that every 20 minutes the mission that a moment ago felt impossible and that somehow you managed to survive seems like crap alongside the next one you have to do. I'm not exaggerating when I say that this game manages to make you suffer. It's quite complicated, but it's not difficult because of the level of skill it demands. It's difficult because it's constantly measuring your patience and the different ways to finish off an enemy or get out of a difficult situation. If you're tired of games being too expensive, at Instant Gaming you can buy all the games you want at an incredible price. You even have the option to get pre-orders and gift cards with a big discount. I've been using it for several years now, and here are my latest purchases to show you guys that it's completely legit. Cheap, fast and safe. You can check it out in the link I leave you in the description down below. That would be a huge support for the channel. Let's get back to the video. When we played the game live, those who were spectators witnessed how exasperated it was to beat the first boss of the game, Raditz, with a health bar that never appears from the enemy and that leaves you with the unknowing feeling if it's close to die or not. At this point in the game, we also realized that you can acquire different special abilities, such as the Solar Flare that works to stun enemies for a second, and so on with various more abilities that you will get through the levels. We're not going to lie to ourselves, it's not the most attractive Dragon Ball game you will see at first glance. This concept easily pushes away many players, those who are used to other genres, and that's fine, this is not for everyone. In fact, honestly, I wouldn't have played this game on my own back in the time it was popular, but also I respect those who tried to do something different as an RPG, because that is precisely what gives them the possibility to exploit iconic moments of the series that other genres could not, like Goku's journey along the Snake Path, which here was used as another level of the game, including the Snake Princess and the passage through Hell when Goku falls. These are ways to fill the void of the spectacle that fights give in other games, showing love for the characters and worlds that Toriyama wrote, letting us go through these places. That is where the value of this project lies. Through the levels, we are able to portray places like King Kai's planet, parts with cities, Namek, and they are placed in a correct way. I like that the game reaches the Frieza saga, knowing that this story could continue in a next installment. And if I had to go through one more level of this, I was going to throw myself out of a window. But well, in the end, it's a title that falls very short in its proposal, especially comparing it with several games with the same approach of the time. It may have Dragon Ball in its title, but it loses a lot of its essence through what the gameplay proposes. Almost all of the enemies that we face during the series are considerably stronger than Goku, at least temporarily, and that is represented in the game in an excessive way. To pass the game, you must repeat a command cycle where you can barely get close to the rival to damage them. It's not at all satisfactory. All the time you are running away from the enemy and trying to damage them in intermittent ways. I didn't think that this could have a slightly less dynamic approach, but with more weight in the attacks through a method other than running away. That made me get tired of the game pretty quickly. It wasn't a great game in its time, and currently playing it with an emulator, it's even worse. It's a game that took the first step in the genre for Dragon Ball, already starting on a portable console with low power. However, I wouldn't recommend it. It's rough, it has not aged well, and the progress through levels is annoying and not satisfactory. Luckily for the developers, they had a free way to develop a sequel on the same platform, one in which they learned from their mistakes and took steps that the fans knew how to appreciate. In the next chapter, we will be reviewing Dragon Ball Z: The Legacy of Goku 2. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this series as much as I know I will enjoy making it for you. Remember to support a lot with those comments, a good like, and share it with your friends if you think they might be interested in the content. But well guys, thank you very much for watching, that was all for today, and I'll be watching you in the next video. Take care and see ya.